Hello, I am the Sussman, Rick Sussman. This is chapter 26 of Sussing It Out. Today's chapter, as you've already seen on the awesomely created intro card, is taking yourself too seriously. Chapter 25 sort of touched on this, but I got a lot of, we'll go with mildly negative feedback about chapter 25 and how I'm a grown man who's still playing with a webcam like he's a 10-year-old. C'est la vie. If you haven't figured it out, of course, I am still here in the Fortress of Nerditude amongst all of my amazingly awesome nerdy things, and I am going to talk to you guys about taking yourselves too seriously. This is a big problem for me, at least it was for a very long time. I've mentioned this a few times. If you go and check out Interview the U on YouTube, just type in Interview the U, Rick Sussman, Brandon. One of my biggest problems is that I took myself way too seriously for way too long. And only in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, honestly, since meeting my wife, have I ever really started taking stock of the fact that I do take myself too seriously. And it's time to stop that. I can almost pinpoint the moment when I knew things were starting to get better. And that was when I actually taking a cue from my father. My dad gets his hands like pedicured or manicured for your hands. The reason for that is he does a lot of traveling. He does a lot of handshaking, a lot of, people talk with their hands. And he gets his nails done and his hands done. And he said he's a little bit older now, but he says, for one, it's a nice little reprieve from everyday life to go and have somebody give you like a hand massage, something like that. That sounds really dirty. But he said it helped him business-wise because he knew that that was something else that he had in his arsenal was, he looked like someone who took care of his hands, and if you're going to be using your hands a lot, you probably ought to. So I got the idea from him to start taking better care of my hands, my fingernails, because I'm one of those guys who doesn't just bite his fingers, I tear up my cuticles. If I can, here, this is a finger here where I'm going to zoom in. You can't really see it because the camera's focusing on my face. But I eat my cuticles, or at least I've since stopped on the most part. But you've seen people like this. They've got little tears on their fingers, little dabs of blood. And what that is you do this. And according to some articles that I was pointed out to by my buddy Tom, we do that in a very similar way to how some people cut themselves. It's apparently like one of the same self-destructive kind of function. At any rate, I wanted to stop doing that, so I had my wife start painting my nails with the clear coat. She would also, because she loved me, take care of my fingers. Like she'd go in, push down my cuticles, push down all the areas of my finger that needed some help, and she started doing that with my hands and my toes as well. That led to me painting my toenails, or she wanted to paint my toenails because she's a girl and they do that. And for a while, that was all I really did. I just knew that walking through stores and stuff like that, I had purple toenails or I had blue toenails or something, and nobody knew, and it was a nice little fun secret. That evolved once we got engaged. The story of why I have a painted fingernail, and I know one of my viewers, Barry, does not much care for that. Sorry, Barry. He thinks it's weird. He's right, it is. A little weird. But the reason why it's painted is I stole the idea, 100% stole the idea from Penn Jillette, who you would know from the musician comedy group Penn and Teller. He has his ring finger painted red, just completely red. And it's always red, as best as I can tell. And I don't think he wears a wedding ring, which I'm not wearing mine right now for emphasis for the video. The reason why he doesn't wear a wedding ring, I don't know. Maybe it interferes with his illusions. Maybe it's just not something. Maybe he's like my dad. My dad's allergic to gold, so my dad can't really wear a gold wedding ring. Whatever. He paints his fingernail to let everyone know that there's something going on here. So I stole that idea from him directly. I just did it my own way. I paint comic book characters. This, I'm going to zoom in, is the logo for a character from the New 52. He was an older character. Behold my first attempt at a rough edit by editing out something. God help us all. 52, and his name's Count Vertigo. So Count Vertigo has this design on him, but I've had Green Arrow, I've had Green Lantern, I've had all these different things. But the reason for it is that I couldn't wear an engagement ring. I didn't have one. I don't know if men even do. Lauren certainly couldn't afford to get me an engagement ring. And if I'm being honest, the engagement ring I got her, I didn't buy it. It's my family's stone. It's passed down from generation to generation to generation. So she got it. She'll give it to our son. If we're lucky enough to have a son, we'll figure it out from there. We're not pregnant right now, by the way. Don't think we are. Anyway, she wanted to, show the world and that she loved me and that she gave me an engagement ring, but we didn't have one. So we went and I painted my nail, and it just sort of stuck. And that's where it all began. It started out with her just doing her thing and showing me how much she cares about me and how much she loves me by taking care of my fingernails and my toesy nails. But it became like a symbol of our relationship. And people comment on it all the time, like, why do you have your nail painted? Why is that? And one, it is a symbol of my love for my wife. But two, I look down and I see my fingernail and I say, I've got a painted nail. That's silly. I showed everybody my tattoo from my buddy Pat a while ago. Every time I look in the mirror and I see that tattoo, I remember Pat. He had this really great way about him. He would say, Rick Sussman, you're ridiculous. You are ridiculous, Rick Sussman. And he was being silly, and I miss that. But it was a good thing. It's a good thing to not take yourself so seriously. Because when you take yourself too seriously, you end up doing a lot of dumb things, and you end up making a lot of people mad at you. I am speaking from experience. I really am. So don't take yourself so seriously. You have friends and family and coworkers who all respect you. I guarantee this. If they don't, you're not a good dude. You don't need to take yourself so seriously. I would venture to guess that the people who do take themselves too seriously are the ones who don't have a lot of people who care about them. Something to think about on today's Sussing It Out as we move slowly away from ridiculous silliness back to actual honest points. I am sorry my eyes keep veering upward towards my image. I'm going to have to fix that. I know the camera isn't 100% accurate. You're seeing a little bit of a millisecond or so delay, but I think we all agree that it's a pretty nice camera. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, thanks for checking everything out. Be on the lookout for my audio podcast, the Hammerfist Power Hour. Be on the lookout for another audio podcast. I believe it's going to be called Those Two Jerks. We're working on it. We're going to be doing another episode of Rick and Charles Blatantly Honest Comic Reviews very shortly. Just got to get the camera to work. Talking to you guys real soon. Thank you.